Welcome back, guys. So we just finished with our banner section. So we are going into our about section. So let's go below and give another comment. We'll call it service section. So we are going to wrap it in a section. We are going to give an ID. We'll call the ID service. So remember that we are going to, on this service section, what we are going to do is this. We are going to create a container also. So say div.container as a class. Inside the container, we are going to give a title. We'll use h2 for the title. We'll call it what we do. So let's save it and see the way it is. So you can see the way it is. So we make text alignment center. We'll give another class, bootstrap class called text center, so that the text should go to the center. So you can see the way it is now. So the next thing we are going to do is this. Under the H2, we are going to create a row. A row class. So inside the row class, we are going to have 4 columns. We are going to have 3 columns. 3 columns. We are going to have column D4. The column D4 is going to be into 3, which is 3 times 4 is 12. So that it will occupy the whole width of the browser. So we are going to use col MD4 and divide it into 3. That is 3 times 4 is 12. So with the first col MD will be just write dot col MD dash 4 and press tab. We'll give it a class of service. Services. So inside this col MD4, we are going to give image. The first image, let's create the first image. I'll call this digital. Then I'll give it service. I'll give it a class of service img so that we can work with it. So under it, I'm going to give it, under the image, I'm going to give h4. I'll give it, which is our title, which will be under the image. I'll call it growth marketing. Then under it, I'm going to give another, all in the same column before. I'm going to give a p tag. I'll give it lorem 50. Lorem 50. So if you're using a different text editor that is different from mine, maybe Sublime Text or Notepad++, anyone that may not have this lorem text, you can copy it from the website. Lorem, just type on your Google lorem ipsum. Google will show you the website. You go and copy some text that you can use, for example. So you can see the way our work is now. You can see the way it is, and the image is not properly kept. It's not properly kept. So what we are going to do is this. But before we change anything on the image, I'm going to duplicate this call MD into 4. The next one, I'll call it online branding. The last one, I will call it animated text, animated ad. So I'm going to give the image different image also. So I have this image, branding.png, for the branding aspect. For the ads, I have this ad.png. So if I refresh it, you can see how it is. It's not good the way it is. So we are going to use CSS to work on it. We are going to work on the CSS. So we use CSS to arrange all things in order. So what we are going to do is this. We'll go to our CSS. On our CSS, we are going to name this section as service section. So we are going to get the ID of this service. So let's just copy it so that we'll not make mistake. We'll copy the whole of the ID. So we'll come here, we'll reference it with hashtag. So service, we'll say padding up and down, left and right, 80 pixel by 0. So let's look at it. Let's reload. is not better. So what we are going to do is this. We are going to work on the image. The image has a class of service img, which all of them has the same class. All the image in the service section has the same class. So class is being referenced with dot. So that we'll be able to shape the image. We'll give it width of 100 pixel. We'll give margin top 20 pixel. Let's refresh our page and take a look. You can see that is now better. So the next thing we are going to do is this. We are going to work on the service H4. The service H4, which is the text. But we'll also make this row text to be text centered. So you can see the way it is now. So the next thing we are going to do is this. We are going to work on the H4. So how do we get that? The way we are going to get it is this. Remember that we have a div class called service, and the service, and it contains H4. So we come here, we reference the service and the H4 in it. So the H4 in it, what we are going to do, we are going to write padding. The padding should be 5 pixels. The margin top should be 25 pixels. Text transform. Uppercase. So let's look at it. So you can see that the way it is now is better, it's getting better. So the next thing we are going to do is this. We want to create some design here. So this is how we are going to create it. But before then, we'll give it an ID called service title. We are going to use class. So I'll copy it. Dot service title. So I want to create some design for it. Some service title. before it, I'll give it an empty content. This might take time, so I will concentrate and finish it for you guys, then I will explain. Everything that we did was able to result to this thing here. So we are going to create this same, we are going to create another thing again. Another one to be in between here. That the width, the height, it will have a better height than this and lesser width compared to that. So I will finish it also to save our time. is not better. The way it is, that is not what we want. We want it to go in between this line. Yes, we have successfully achieved what we want. So the next thing we are going to do is this. We are not yet done with the service. Let's check if there's any other thing we need to do on the service section. We want to have a button below this text, all this text. So we'll come inside the container, inside the service container. We'll call it all service. We'll give it a class of btn dark. Let's take a look how it is. So you can see the way it is. So let's see if we are going to add some CSS to it. So our service, we are going to add some CSS to it. So our service has our service section has an ID of services. So we'll use inside the btn dark. We want to work on the button. So on the button, what we are going to do is this. We are going to use box shadow. None. Padding up and down, left and right, 8px and 25px and 25 pixel. Border will be none. We'll make it a round button, so we'll give border radius of 20 pixel. Background image, linear gradient, so you can see our service button is now better. So the next thing we are going to do now is that we are going to proceed to our about section, our about section. So if there's anything that we need to work on, this we'll need to do on the service section, we'll still come back to it to complete it. So I'll see you in the next section, in the next video.